UK wildlife management law is completely out of touch with reality and needs urgent review. It is based on emotion and populist prejudice against a minority rather than research and evidence. It has nothing to do with animal welfare or the science of managing habitat and biodiversity. Politicians, as seen recently in Scotland, are falling for cheap sound bites, tired lines and biased public surveys, rather than the evidence-based case for natural hunting as part of wildlife management. A direct result is that the health of wildlife populations is suffering. The hypocrisy is unbelievable, and lawmakers and others need to wake up to the reality before it is too late.
Is fox hunting. I just absolutely despise fox hunting, I always have. And I'm really keen to take this opportunity again. It's in the manifesto. They want to ban trail hunting. Let's make sure they do. Let's make sure that is very much the beginning of the end for that barbaric nonsense.
It's very easy for a city-dwelling ecologist to say, oh, well, I don't like this. I hate hunting. But that's the view from the distance.
Celebrity naturalist Chris Packham hates fox hunting and has vowed to do everything he can to eradicate any trace of it. This means openly backing gangs of thugs known as hunt saboteurs. Across the UK, hunt saboteurs routinely target legal trail laying, a legitimate question and canine sport that has nothing to do with hunting.
Phone the police. Phone the police right now and say they're blocking our way.
Using threats, intimidation and sometimes violence, more often than not, they are the ones that police charge with offences, including assault, aggravated trespass and possession of weapons. Hunts are forced to call the police, as often the saboteurs refuse to leave private property, threaten or harm hunt members and abuse the dogs by spraying them with chemicals.
I don't give a about your rules. This is a road and you won't stop anyone being here.
Right, why don't you take your mask off?
What do you mean take my mask off? I don't want to be all over Facebook. But if you fancy going down there, just me and you, I don't mind.
Right. Take your balaclava off. You're at my property now. Take it off. What are you scared of? What are you scared of? Take your balaclava off. Take your balaclava off. The police will be here shortly. You'll have to.
It's a continual waste of police time and resources when actual crimes are being committed elsewhere. Have the police and politicians not got more important issues to deal with? Is this a waste of taxpayers' money? Despite these shady practices, Packham goes out of his way to show support for the Sabs.
The hunt saboteurs. I really admire the work that you do.
Hey!
With your horse and your knobhead.
Swinging his nunchuck at a child. Just turn around and tell them how old you are, that you're 12 years old, and they were swinging a nunchuck at you.
And you're doing all of that to protect our beautiful foxes. They happen to be my favourite mammal on planet Earth.
Following just a couple of links from posts of Packham out with the Sabs, you can find extremist animal rights content produced by people calling for violence and law breaking. Balaclava Sabs with axes, death threats and instructions on how to cause criminal damage has become a terrifying reality in rural Britain. If this was anywhere else, these people would be on watch lists and arrested at the first opportunity. How would the Met Police react to this level of violence and intimidation if it took place in central London? How would any other minority ethnic group react? Laws don't apparently apply to anything Packham believes to be a worthy cause.
I see what's posted, I see everything that's posted. I do my best to repost it whenever I can. And support behind the scenes. But anyway, listen, I just wanted to say thank you very much for everything you do and keep it up. And I do appreciate how difficult it is, and I'll do whatever I can to help.
These people carry out online abuse, routine threats, bullying and hate crimes against a protected minority group.
You couldn't make it up, but a faction of the fox hunting fraternity are currently taking legal advice so that they may be able to attain minority ethnic group status.
Ed, you're making the case. What is it?
Specifically, we've just looked at the Equality Act 2010. We feel that we are a group of people who are being eradicated. Keir Starmer has decided to ban trail hunting, which has been the replacement activity that we were actually advised to do by Labour back in 2004.
They're not just attacking the people who run around with the red suits on, blowing their horns, tally who are keen and all that. It covers everything that comes from the hunting umbrella, which will have a massive effect on working class men who have a passion and a history of going out and catching rabbits for the pot.
Through our literature and our art and our culture and our relationships with each other, with our landholders and our farmers, we've developed over millennia these really deeply held strong views and opinions about ourselves and our way of life. So we've got a long and shared cultural history, which is distinct from wider society. We've got distinct customs of our own. Those things qualify us for that protected status.
Taking away these rural pastimes, from what I've seen, is people feel something has been ripped out of their lives. It's not that they're prohibited from killing foxes. What they're concerned about is centuries of engagement have been taken away from them by people who they would claim don't understand them.
If there is any slim potential that this might be a reality, then I will be fighting it very hard indeed. Because it's an outright insult and a travesty to even conceive of this idea for all of those genuine minority ethnic groups.
Critics invited to challenge our minority status don't think for a minute that they're proving our point with their hate-filled and prejudiced comments about what we and our community do, as we have done forever.
Consistently, polls have shown that over 80% of people reject hunting.
These polls that come out, if 85% of people dislike it to such a degree, then the 15% that's left is by definition a minority, is it not?
You can't seriously equate a hobby, a blood sport, with the experiences of marginalised groups such as LGBTQ+ and black communities.
And
it's quite
people
frankly
with disabilities.
insulting.
Well, in your opinion, you can't. In my opinion, you can. And we're looking at the detail of the Equality Act and minority protections. And if you don't think that we've been oppressed, then you need to realise what you're doing.
Can I just bring into you choose to be a fox hunter. You make a choice. You don't have to be one. If you walk into a pub or down the street and people don't know your choices, you're very safe.
Well, we're discriminated against massively and prejudiced and suffer abuse, hate speech.
How?
Well, because we've had people attacking us. We've had cars smashed. We've had tyres slashed. We've had arson attacks on people.
Don't go hunting. You know, conversely, there's plenty.
But you're not saying it's okay, kid, are you?
Sorry? You're saying it's...
You're not saying it's okay for him to be attacked, are you?
No, and there's plenty of evidence of hunters hurting and putting saboteurs in hospital when they're trying to be...
Just to be clear, you say to him, don't go hunting, but whether he goes hunting or not, people should not be attacking him, correct?
No, violence of any form is never okay, including violence to animals. So let's end all this violence and end hunting for good. And that is what the government is committed to do.
But while he continues to do what you term violence to animals, nobody should be attacking him, correct?
No, and nobody should be being attacked at all.
The Antis and Packham argue that hunting is cruel because foxes are killed.
It's more humane than watching a lion eat a wildebeest from the inside out, but it's still kind of kicking. The death of whatever they kill it's not a quick death. People say it's quick. It's not really. You can see some of the wildlife on telly getting eaten from inside out. It's still blinking.
This is hunt. They've been out at least 25 times in the last 5 months. They've killed at least 5 foxes.
5 foxes doesn't compare with the weekly onslaught since the Hunting Act became law. Far more foxes are killed now than there ever were, but not by hunts.
There's even vets telling them now that there's less foxes now as there have been because they've been just annihilated by people shooting them. Because they've just ramped the shooting up, haven't they? The shooting's like 10 times as much as it used to be. There's landowners that keep foxes solely for the hunt, we'll let the keepers shoot them. The old ones die, the ones that prime 90s with 10 hours get away. But they can't hunt them with dogs, so they will shoot them all. Now we're shooting all of them.
If they're not being massacred in pest control, they're run over on our roads by people like you. You don't need to travel too far along country lanes to see carcasses lying on the roadside. Is that recklessness? Should the Antis be trying to ban driving?
I have no problem with them riding across the fields. I have no problem with them dressing up in their pinks. I don't mind. The only thing I object to is taking a pack of dogs out into the countryside and allowing them to tear an animal apart. That is wrong. That is morally wrong.
If protecting wildlife is their aim, then why do they not want a ban on cats? A 2022 study estimated domestic cats kill up to 275 million wild animals each year in the UK, most of them protected species. They don't need to hunt to eat, they're fed by their owners. How can they be left to roam unsupervised over private land when owners know that they will kill whatever they can? Of all mammals killed by dogs and cats in the UK, cats kill 99.6%. A further RSPCA study in 2018 showed that 78% of wounded birds and mammals brought in by cats took an average of 3 days to die of their wounds, neither necessary nor humane. Packham's stance on cats changes every year, from declaring them a pest to blaming their owners to not knowing whether dogs are better. The RSPB, of which Packham is vice president, also refuses to condemn the carnage caused by cats. At the same time, it quietly kills foxes as part of its routine pest control. It also supports the use of dogs to search for wounded foxes. Packham clearly isn't bothered by that.